Parsha Achrei Mot. It is common in Jewish thought to find a connection between ideas which express the human soul. We see that in the Jewish calendar. How is that? In the calendar, we see how the physical world expresses itself. There are three main areas of life. What are they? Pay attention to this. There's the spiritual, the spatial, and the chronological. Very sophisticated words. So we look to find something which is appropriate to have parallels in their workings. So what does that mean? So let's consider one such parallel. We're going to analyze the pasuk V'zos in this parsha. So it says over there, V'zos Aaron. Aaron shall go into the Kachi Kachim, the Holy Holies, into the sanctuary. What's he going to take with him? A bull and a ram to offer the korban chatos, which is a sin offering, and the korban ola. It's a pasuk in 16:3. We have mentioned that in the physical world, there are places which do not obey the usual rules of time and space. We think everything has to be physical and accounted for. It's not that way. The land of Israel, Eretz Israel, can expand or it can shrink. And closer to the center of spirituality is the courtyard and the base of Mikdash. Jerusalem is the center of the world. And like Israel is the center of the world, and Jerusalem is the center of Israel. And unexpectedly, at the base of Mikdash, it gives a greater amount of space where you would never think more than 400 people could be there. But thousands came in, and when they bent down, they all had room. And it defied time and space. Finally, in the holiest spot on earth, the ark, the Aron, did not occupy any space at all, despite its physical nature. Each of these, as we have seen, shows Zos, like the pasuk says. It's a type of miracle, where normally, in supernormality, don't fit together. And they happen in one place. In the Jewish calendar, it's the same way. This concept is paralleled how? By the days of Yom Kippur. Well, that one day is sort of spreads itself out. Why? To understand this, we must consider a basic difference. What's the difference? There is a difference in Shabbos and Yom Kippur. Shabbos and Yom Tov. How's that? We know Shabbos falls out every seventh day by Hashem's decree. He created the world in 6 days, he rested on the seventh. This has been permanently fixed from the time of creation. Its holiness comes directly from where? From God. And as such, has a primary spiritual character because it was set that way in creation. So we refer to Shabbos as a taste of the world to come. Why? Because all week long we're running around crazily. And then come sunset on Shabbos, it all stops. And that is living in another world. It's a supernatural dimension. The Yom Tov, on the other hand, falls according to when the Jewish court, the Bezdin, proclaimed it. A while back, there used to be messengers, and when they saw the new moon coming in, they would send messengers, like on Rosh Chodesh, and they would declare according to the testimony of witnesses. Unlike today, where our calendars are so fixed. But still, we remember that because outside of Israel, we have 2 days of holidays instead of one. So this is determined, the messengers being sent to Jerusalem, to the Jewish court, on which day the Yom Tov falls on. Additionally, food preparation is permitted on Yom Tov. In other words, as long as you have a fire on before the holiday, you're permitted to cook. Where on Shabbos, everything has to be done. You can't add any more heat. Whatever is going to be cooked is cooked, and that's what you're going to deal with. All of these points have a different style of day, one in which the human element is very much evident, and once the spiritual part is evident. Yom Tov focuses more on the physical world than does Shabbos, because obviously you can prepare things. With Shabbos, it's all done. You sanctify Shabbos, the world gets sanctified, and everything stops. It primarily expresses the natural dimension of its existence. Yom Kippur is somewhere in between the two. How is that? It is a Yom Tov, a holiday, and as such, the day on which it falls is determined how? By the Jewish court. according to the testimony of the witnesses that brought evidence to the court, said, we saw the moon coming. So that's quite a big difference when you have a spiritual decree versus a physical one. However, Yom Kippur has all of the laws of Shabbos, because you can't carry on Yom Kippur, even if it comes out on Wednesday or Thursday or Sunday. So Yom Kippur is a combination of the natural concept expressed by Yom Tov and the supernatural concept of stopping everything, which that's what Shabbos is about. It goes against the grain of what the rest of the world talks about and how the rest of the world works. It is indeed a Zos type of day. Regarding the human soul, we may suggest that the Kohen Gadol, the high priest in Jerusalem, expresses this combination. How does he do that? On one hand, the Kohen Gadol is a human being. He was a little baby. He grew up like everybody else. But on the other hand, he assumes superhuman qualities. When is that? In his preparation, and then when he performs his divine service on Yom Kippur. Then he becomes not like a human being anymore. No man may be an Ol Moed in the Holy of Holies when he goes in that place, because it is the only holy place where no one but the Kohen Gadol can go in. And until he exits, no man may be there. And it used to be that if things didn't go right, they had a rope tied to the Kohen Gadol and they would drag him out because he died there. People wanted to be a Kohen Gadol, and their egos were so big, they died there, were pulled out. That's how crazy things got. Rather, when the divine spirit rested on him, his face gleamed like fire. He was like an angel, like a malach. At the height of the yearly service, the Kohen Gadol reached such a great level. And what did he do? What was the Beis Hamikdash? It was a rectification of the soul between man and God. And we don't understand what we lost. And it was taken out and resembled just temporarily by a human being who seemed like an angel. Thus, even when he himself was inside the Holy of Holies, the Kachim Kachim, it was nevertheless as if no man was there. We thus see how the concept of Zos can be expressed within the Kohen Gadol. One moment, he's like a regular human being, regular man. And all of a sudden, before we know it, he transitions and he goes to become an angel, like the supernatural. It's not surprising that though these three concepts that we spoke about earlier are manifestations of the pasuk of Zos, in space, time, and the human soul as they coincide. For as we have seen, the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur transitions. He goes in sort of a human being, goes into the Holy Holies on Yom Kippur, and he becomes like an angel. And all of this is hinted at by the magic word Zos. This should help us all to understand the order of the verses and why it is that we don't discover that the whole Parsha refers to Yom Kippur until after all the laws are all revealed to us, after it's written and recorded down. This Parsha is of the most important to understand when we're praying on Yom Kippur. It sits right here. We learned that Aaron should not just come at any time to the holy place. Any time refers what? To the natural order of an ordinary day in the year. But that day changes into spirituality. And that is a day on which the Kohen Gadol may not enter the Holy Holies, but only on Yom Kippur. But the following verses tells us what he may. And that's what this parsha is about. When Zos is applicable in all of its facets. Thus, on Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol is given a decree, a holy decree, where the only time of the year, he's the only one in the world that can enter the Holy of Holies, the Kachim Kachim. So the Torah actually does tell us when the offerings that are described in this parsha should be given. And then we know there's a set order. We have a man who's given the decrees of God, who transitions to like an angel. And that's what this whole parsha refers to.